before, you heard many very nice speeches, so this one will be very light. If you need to do something important, I think it's time just now. I will talk about breeding in industrial areas, because nest boxes are a new lifestyle for peregrines, even in Czech Republic. Okay, so peregrine falcons are an icon for nature conservationists and were in focus on people for thousands of years. They were used as falcon birds for really thousands of years, but mainly people didn't like them, I would say, in history, because during the First World War they were really enemies, because we were catching pigeons carrying important messages between armies and so on, so they were really enemy number. Of course, falconers don't like them, but peregrines manage it until these days, and ornithologists were used to watch them in pristine nature in national parks and protected areas. But times are changing, and as well peregrines. So here I can illustrate that the prey stay the same, but the environments changed a lot. So in these days, peregrines are breeding and distributed all over the world, but not only in pristine nature, but as well and in industrial areas and very changed landscape. And probably they take big advantage of this environment. So as well that were left aside, but since 2011 they are breeding as well in beautiful industrial complexes like chemical factories and power plants and anything you can imagine. And here you can see the development of the population. Peregrines got extinct in Czech Republic in 1960s due to use of chemicals in agriculture. It was not only the DDT, but as well many other chemicals on base of chlor, and the population collapsed for, let's say, 30 years. And in 1994 we had first proved pair that was trying to breed, and then peregrines are continually increasing. The story in other countries changed already in last years. We have many Spanish colleagues here, so in Spain the grade again going down, and in other countries like Switzerland as well. The very optimistic part of the population development. So this is the peregrines on industrial birding in Czech Republic. It's a Tušimice power plant, and this used to be the highest chimney in the Czech Republic, and the chimney is not there anymore, but peregrine survived, and we found, or the breeding was discovered only thanks to the workers that were climbing up, getting the chimney ready to be cut it down. So they climbed up to the top to 300 meters, and they found peregrine. The beauty you can see. So peregrines lay their eggs in these cables, and I'm very surprised that the workers recognize it's a peregrine, that it is a problem, and they called me, and we started to discuss it, what to do with it, and we said, okay, we have to stop the demolition. The demolition was very expensive. It was several tens of millions of Czech crowns, but the company stopped everything, and then peregrines put there. Unfortunately, you see the nest was very nice, so nothing happened. The eggs were already closed, and so the work could continue quite quickly. But we installed the first in this complex, and peregrines are breeding there since 2011 every year. But they really are not builders. They don't species like ravens or raptors. Sometimes they can breed even on the ground, but to find a place where to lay eggs. So they try as they can. This is very close to the place where I live. It's in Teplice, and it is last year there was a chimney that I didn't control, and peregrines wanted to breed there, so they used this cable box to try to breed, but they failed. So the only or the very few cases that peregrines made it without nest box on the building is this power plant. You see it's brand new and in very good stage. So the peregrines choose this brick layer. It is actually I don't know how to go back. Left arrow. Okay. It's in Spanish, so more and more challenge. So here you can see that it's really not height, only 30 meters. Usually peregrines on the buildings breed much higher. But here this was a nice place, but all the traffic for the power plant is happening here just under the nest. So I was very skeptic that the breeding will be successful, but they made it. And then we installed the nest box, and since then they are breeding up here in 120 meters. So when they have the opportunity, they go as high as possible. So here are chicks that then fletched away. And it's quite peculiar, or many people can be surprised that sometimes it's very difficult to find the peregrines in the industrial buildings or complexes. And many ornithologists don't see them at all. This is, let's say, mid-sized chimney, nothing special, and you see the two dots it's a pair of peregrines. This is, let's say, small chimney. The diameter is quite small, and birds are quite well visible there, but these are usually exceptions, and mainly peregrines prefer these huge chimneys that are more than 100 meters high and in diameter, let's say, more than 20 meters. So can be quite well hidden. And if you really don't go, especially for the peregrines on the chimney, you can very easily miss them, and can sometimes cause very, let's say, funny stories, because in one factory, I went to the director to ask him if they could set up the nest box for peregrines, that they have the pair there and would be very kind of them to help them. And he was very nice and said, okay, we will set up the nest box. And next day I had a very angry call that why I do this, why I tease him like this, that he has an ornithologist in the complex, and he said that peregrine was never there, seen. So next day I took the binoculars with the ornithologist. We went for the excursion, and I showed him that the pair is already ready on the chimney. So it happens. Here you can see again very nice view, pristine nature. Here is a peregrine couple. You can see that the difference between male and female in size can be very huge. This is on the right, there is big female, and on the left is a very small male. This one was too small for the female, so he was feeding her while sitting on the eggs only with blue teats and sporos and so on. And the female was very angry, so next year he was changed. She changed him for a bigger one. And even when peregrines are at flight in the buildings or in the complex, they can be easily overlooked, because there are many like constructions and steam from the chimneys and so on. So even in flying they can be overlooked easily. But once you are sure you want, it's a good place for peregrines. We have to set up the nest box. It's funny part. Of course, it's very easy to get to the nest box 150 meters high. At the beginning, usually there was a specialized company with very experienced people installing the nest boxes. In these days, usually I do it by myself because it looks very dramatically, but it's not. We made the nest boxes from aluminium, so they are not very heavy and can last for years up in the right. Here, this is one of the options that the firefighters from the big companies are helping to install the nest box. Here, putting the keramzit inside for peregrines to have soft place for eggs. Of course, it's very hard to decide which is the right side where to place it. So you need a drawing. But at the beginning, we didn't realize that it's really important. Now we know that the best position is on the north part of the chimney with the entrance to the east, because usually from the west, and the north part is very good when you have a very hot days. So the nest box is in the shadow of the chimney. So the position is quite important, but usually peregrines are very graceful for any nest box. So it looks like this, 60 to 60 centimeters. This one is very special because you see bright red outside and nice white inside. It's because it's in Orlen, PKN, Orlen Unipetrol chemical factory, and their typical colors are red and white. So even peregrines have to have the nest box in the colors, but they don't mind. It can be pink. They really don't mind. The view from the nest box is really very nice. Everybody would love to live there. And here you can see how our project is successful. It's very nice to illustrate how tricky it can be. I really could say that thanks to us, we have more than 30 pairs breeding already on the buildings. But I would say it's very important to choose the proper species, because this peregrine is increasing very quickly, and we only put the nest box there and he is using it. So it's very easy for us to get these beautiful results. And the trend is still positive and increasing every year. And the number of chicks fledged in this artificial environment is much higher than on nature rocks, because it's really very quiet there. Nobody is climbing up there, so there are no tourists, no rock climbers, no tramps, nothing. It's very only Greenpeace can cause problems sometimes. And the food supply in the surrounding of this industrial complex is very rich as well. So peregrines really like it very much, and because it's modern to breed in the nest boxes, and everything modern is coming from the west. So it's the same story with peregrines. The different colors are not so important now. Only the brown nest boxes are those that are not used yet. So you can see that the used nest boxes are concentrated on the west, and we already have some places more to the east where peregrines already breed. And of course, we didn't teach the peregrines to breed on the industrial buildings. Germans did, of course, as well. We are not the first again. This behavior appeared in Germany in the 90s. They were supporting peregrine falcons massively there with the nest boxes, releasing captive bred peregrines and so on. And very quickly, the urban population, or let's say industrial population, started there, and they are spreading from the west to the east to Czech Republic. And it's very typical that the birds that were born in the industrial area or industrial building is breeding again on the building. So they don't prefer to breed on the rocks, but they love to breed on the buildings. So it's, let's say, subpopulation in our nature population. It's interesting that birds born on the rocks don't mind chimneys and industrial buildings. So we have many birds that left the pristine nature. And when you climb up the chimney and you didn't have any observation of peregrine before, you can find out easily that peregrines are already there, because leftovers of birds can be found on the top of the chimneys. So this poor woodcock didn't make probably its migration and was flying in a bad position very close to the chimney. Very often pigeons are the victims, and sometimes it's quite messy up there already before the breeding starts. But once the nest box is installed and you see this, it's a good sign that it's promising, and the breeding can happen very quickly. But it's not always like this, because the peregrines in the Czech Republic from the north, it's Calidus subspecies. They love our nest boxes as well to rest and spend the winter there. So sometimes happens that they stay there up to the spring and then leave to the north. But usually this is a good sign. And when you see a couple close to the nest box, then it's very good, and probably the breeding is on the way. And then you can see this beautiful mess with also wearing them with colorings, and then follow their life. They are really beautiful. So people love them as well, and we try to use modern devices as well to check them. I wear the same as you can see here in the corner. So it's really me up there, and the photo traps are really great tool to find many information about peregrines. But even better are the web cameras. It's very easy to install it there. You have electricity, usually data connection to internet is no problem, and people really love to watch on the couple taking care about the chicks and so on. And it's very popular even for the workers in those companies. And I found out that it's very powerful tool how to inform about nature conservation, those groups that we usually even can't reach with other standard ways. We do like education and so on. And in this case, it's in Ústí nad Labem. I was surprised because this year the peregrines were breeding for the first time. And before I got from the entrance under the chimney, 4 men came to me and asked me many questions about the peregrines, how many eggs they have, and we have a bet that they were real 4 chicks and so on. So they are really unjudged, and it's very nice tool. And of course, you can get peculiar details about. Unfortunately, they are not mating in the nest box; they are mating somewhere else. So found other ways how to improve our voyeur skills. But you really see that this parent arguing is very common. Here, this is small male ring, as you can see, and big female, and he's supplying female with food, and then has to fly away because female could be aggressive. Sometimes we can see other species as well in the nest boxes. This is the Saker falcon, even more endangered species of large falcons that is trying to breed. This one not far from here in Dukovany, our plant. This female was there alone, but was stronger and bigger than the pair of peregrines, so she occupied are very popular, and we have quite many activities on them. We made a web page, sokolinakomínech.cz. If you are interested, you can have a web cameras and all the information on one side. So you are very welcome. here. I would like to thank to many photographers. I used their pictures in this presentation and it didn't show their name, so thanks. It's gonna stay on YouTube. And of course, to be safety against coronavirus, it's important on every place, so even on a very high chimney. Thank you for your attention, and I am looking forward to your questions.
Thank you, Václav.
Thank you, Václav.
It's always a pleasure to listen to your adventures. So, do we have?
Yeah. Is there any question? In the meantime, I come. Yeah. Just a second. One second. Just 1 second.
We will make everything is
Okay. I'd like to ask, I heard that you once found eggs. Is it right? I don't know anything about it, but how can it happen?
Yeah, I was very surprised as well. It was in Počerady power plant. There were 2 nest boxes, one on the chimney and second on the cooling tower. And that one was used by peregrines only as storage of food. They were not breeding, they were breeding on the chimney. So I didn't check this nest box, let's say, every year. And it was a mistake because when I climbed up there, I found 6 eggs of geese up on the cooling tower, and I was very surprised. But it was not as surprising as I thought because it was not the wild goose, but it was the Egyptian goose, this non-native species that loves to breed on a nest and high structures. But it was the first proof breeding in Czech Republic, so high. It was not successful. I didn't know the reason, but next year I met workers that did something down on the ground, and they told me beautiful stories that the goose was trying to approach the nest box and the peregrine were attacking the goose very, very aggressively. So probably the peregrines prevented the goose to breed successfully. But I was very curious with the cheese jumping down from the huge tower. It would be heavy, and I think complicated, very, very complicated.
Okay. Like when I'm looking which size in industrial area and in natural rocks, for example, in Muzeum.
Yeah, the population on rocks is still increasing, but very slowly because all the suitable rocks are, let's say, occupied. So now we have, I think, 90 pairs, 90 to 80 to 100 pairs breeding on rocks, and let's say 35 pairs breeding on industrial buildings. But I think if the trend will be like this, in let's say 10 years, it could be 1 to 1. Like there will be the same number of pairs on non-natural breeding sites. Because in Germany they already started to breed even on electric pylons and on bridges with nest boxes, so we will see what will happen.
You didn't address it, but I think you didn't address it, but the person knows it about the money. How good the money, how is it about the money? How the money goes.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. This project is mainly paid by the companies that have the peregrine breeding in, because they are very happy to have peregrines. It's a very good advertise for them. Sometimes it could be even called greenwashing, I am afraid, but I'm involved in, so it's definitely not greenwashing. It's a nature conservation. Yeah, so we don't need money from state or from some project grants paid for by
and we can
private
for
companies, and we can. And it opened us doors to many companies with other projects, conservation projects. They sometimes offer us people that could help us while team building, or the companies are, when they see the effect of Peregrine, they are sometimes really very keen on other projects and other support, but very often limited by time capacities.
Given the success of the webcams and this keeping people engaged like this, do you think we could apply the same approach to other species in the Czech Republic, for example?
Yes, but of course sometimes it's very tricky because people don't know the biology properly and so on, and it can cause many different difficult situations.
Let's say we destroy the white storage this year, the white storage will get better, the chicks were better,
the chicks were dying, and people wanted the nature conservationists to help them and to do something, not to let them die. Sometimes, in case of peregrines, the pigeon keepers complain that they are eating pigeons and so on, or people see that the chicks are running on the chimney, not already they are out of the nest, but can't fly, and they call me that they can't get back to the nest walls and so on. So yeah, it's popular, people like it, but can create some problems. But for example, with offshore would be quite difficult to stuff.
Did I ask? Did you have any you didn't want them there, want like maybe some messy or some just like we don't want to support
it happens. It happens. Usually it's not because of the mess, but it's because they are scared that this protected species will breed in their company, and that this will cause legislative problems to them. They like to build something. We say no, you can't. There is the Peregrine. Usually it's this awareness, like this problem. But when the more nest boxes we have, the easier it is to tell them. Now you can say roof. Now you can say roof. We have the nest boxes on power plants, nuclear power plants. They don't have any problem. You can call them and ask, and so year by year it's easier and easier, complicated. But still, we have some cases, like in Pardubice, there is nice factory, we would like to have the nest box past the director like it. And he said, so here is the airplane corridor in Peregrine's country. Argument. Go over. Okay.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.